Namaskar. Welcome to this session. We are working on prelude to very concept of Yogasana. And it is so important because otherwise theoretically it cannot be explained as to what Yogasana is justifiably. In education, we have to understand the nuances and implications, and therefore there cannot be just description of what Yogasana is. Moreover, it should be borne in mind that Patanjali is bringing Ashtanga Yoga as Anushthanam, and Ashtanga Yoga having the third aspect, third limb of it called Yogasana. So one needs to be familiar with philosophical dialects or dialectics to really understand what is really Yogasana. And therefore I am extending the prelude to create a foundation to understand what Yogasanas are. So in the last session, we opened out the factors that there are Yogasanas, that means there is yoga plus asana, or yoga or asana of the nature of yoga. Asana in yoga. And then what is yoga? Chittavritti nirodha. What is chittavritti nirodha? Abhyasa Vairagya combination. What is Abhyasa? Effort for chitta stairyam. Effort to be steady in the chitta. And let me make it clear, it is not to be steady the mind, but to be steady the chitta. And what is Vairagya? Vairagya is Drushtana Vishaya Vitrushtasya Vashikara Sagna Vairagyam. So, Abhyasa and Vairagya, these two components of yoga, are so fundamental components in Yogasana. This is to be understood. Now, Abhyasa and Vairagya, where do they get structured, or where is the formulation or formation or appearance or manifestation of Abhyasa and Vairagya? It is in Chitta. It is not in mind. Because otherwise we think on common man's level of understanding that Vairagya is in the mind. Vairagya has to be in the mind. But Patanjali is postulating something that Abhyasa and Vairagya both get the Avishkar manifestation in Chitta. So, let me tell you what this Chitta is, another kind of channel to imagine what the Chitta is. Human being has Vyaktavykta Avishkruti. That means if everything is manifest in human embodiment, it is both vyakta and avyakta. It is both nouminal and phenomenal. Then there is also something in human being apart from Avishkruta. There is something that is Anavishkruta. Avishkruta means to have manifestation. Anavishkruta means still not having manifestation. There are so many things which are potentials in human being. At a given stage in life, you will realize that there are certain potentials there because they manifest at a later stage in life. In the next or following stages in life, so many things manifest within us. Until that time, they are anavishkruta. They are unmanifest. So human life is composed of, human consciousness is composed of vyakta, vyakta, avishkruta, anavishkruta, Ateeta, Anagata, Vartamana. That means there are so many things in human manifestation which go to latency. Like our babyhood or infanthood and childhood has gone into latency. We were baby, we were a child. Now today we are not a child. So there are so many things which have gone into latency. We were ourselves a baby at point in time. We ourselves were infants at a point in time. Now no longer. So in human manifestation, there are so many things which have become Ateeta. Ateeta means have become latent. And there are of course many things which are Vartamana. Vartamana means actualized condition. So we are actually something, but that doesn't mean that apart from actuality in us, there is nothing in us. Because so many things have gone to latency. We were in different stage in bygone time. So that's also part of reality. Actuality is not merely reality. Actuality is only a phase of reality. So what was real and true has now become latent. Therefore, Ateeta is also reality. Vartamana is also reality. Vartamana means actuality. Ateeta means latency. And then Anagata. Anagata means potential. What we will be tomorrow, what we will be in our subsequent stage of life, is something that is potentially there within us now. So, reality is to be understood as latent plus actual plus potent. So, three together is our reality. And we should not just think that actuality is only reality. Actuality is only part of reality. So, Ateeta, Vartamana, Anagata, these are the phases in chronological time. So, chronologically, there is something that has gone to the past. That was also real. Because that was sometimes present. Now it has become past, but it was present. So that was actual sometimes. So if you consider actuality is reality, what was actual in bygone time has now become latent. However, it was actual. Then of course, the Vartamana is the present condition, actual state, actual phase. That is reality, and no one would be having an argument here. But then there is something Anagata, that is potentiality, which is going to become actual at a later point in time. So, interestingly, human manifestation, listen once again, it is to be seen, perceived as vyakta, vyakta, Avishkruta, Anavishkruta, Ateeta, Vartamana, Anagata. And we have been existing from Anadikala. It is not that we came into existence only at the point of birth and we are going to perish on the point of death. We have been anadi, that is time without beginning. So, Janma Janmantara is behind us, and Janma Janmantara will be ahead of us. So this is what the Adhyatma tells us about. The Janma Janmantara has been behind us. We have been existing from time without beginning, and we have had so many existences, manifestations, avatars, incarnations, and we will be having hereafter as well. So in Janma Janmantaram, in various lives, that all those which have gone by, we have collected our manas. Manas has been eternal. So manas, vasana, samskar, vritti, swabhava, prakriti, manasikata, bhavanikata, bauddhikata, smriti, all this is the subject matter of what Patanjali calls as chitta. So another point of distinction between the concept of mind and concept of chitta. That mind which has been eternal mind is not counted in our empirical temporal mind. Then our mind has gone through so many manifestations. Even in human form we have manifested severally as human beings, and in all those human manifestations we had collected human vasanas, manavi vasana, manavi manas, manavi samskar, manavi vritti, manavi swabhava, manavi prakriti, manavi manasikata, manavi bhavanikata, and manavi bauddhikata, and manavi smriti. Manavi means human. So we have several human minds underlying our present mind. Several human minds, several human tendencies, that is vasanas, several human samskars, what is rendered as subliminal impression, several vrittis, that is monovritti, mental states, several swabhava, several personal natures, several personal prakriti or personal constitutions. So also manasikata, that is mentality, bhavanikata, emotionality, and bauddhikata, intellectuality, and smritis, countless smritis. This is an enormous structure underlying our mind, underlying our present mind. We never penetrate, understand the depth of this mind, which would put ocean to shame. Our mind is so deep that it would put ocean to shame. So understand the whole dimension of the mind which is being referred to, and therefore that is technically termed as chitta. So in such chitta which is of oceanic proportion, or much more than that, because as I just now said, oceans are put to shame with the dimension of our mind and depth of our mind. So that is the chitta. So the Abhyasa and Vairagya should be not only in the mind, but they are needed to be in the chitta. Not just covering that limited radius or diameter of the mind, psychological, empirical, temporal, but it must be huge diameter to circumscribe greater parts of the chitta, if not complete chitta. The complete chittavritti nirodha would happen only to a yogi, asamprajna samadhi kind of yoga there. But otherwise there are so many samadhis and so many dimensions of restraint, particularly our plane. You can understand how meager would be the restraint, but yet it is expected that such a kind of restraint, to whatever extent, definitely more than the diameter and radius of the empirical temporal mind, is expected in yogasana. So also Vairagya. It is not just cerebral Vairagya, temporal Vairagya, empirical Vairagya. The Vairagya must find depth in our samskars. The Vairagya must find depth in our svabhava, our prakriti, our manasikata, bhavanikata, bauddhikata, memory, etc., etc. So, that is what we have to understand, how yoga is in a way chittavritti nirodhasan. The chittavritti nirodha is not as profound as it is in samadhi, but however there must be a fraction of it in yogasana. This is expected and this is postulated by the Patanjali's exposition of yoga, exposition on yoga. Now, so that was little addenda to what we discussed in the previous session. Now, asana is, as I said in the last session, asana is a seat. So, if it is a seat, it is seat to what? It is seat to chitta. Not seat to body, not seat to mind, but seat to chitta. So let's try to understand this concept as it is in the Shastra. What can we do and how much can we do should not be interfering here. We have to understand objectively what is this concept and not try to get conditioned and then try to have conceptualization by understanding what we do, what we can do, what we may do. That should not come in to understand this Shastra objectively. So, that is what the asana is. Now let me come to another point here with reference to ourselves. If we are in yogasana, what are our expressions? I am doing posture. I am doing maybe asana. You might call it asana because then asana and posture is for layman, they are synonyms. Because you say asana is called posture and posture is asana. Asana is called posture and posture means asana. So they become synonyms. So then understand the statements. I am doing an asana. I am in an asana. Try to understand the dynamics little objectively and microscopically. Otherwise, the two statements don't make much difference for us. They do make difference. I am doing an asana. I am in an asana. So ponder over this statement with little microscopic intellectoscope. When you say I am doing asana, there are again two shades of meaning available. When you say I am doing an asana, you are, in one sense, you are on the shop floor and trying to construct your asana. I am doing. That is one meaning of I am doing an asana. So you become an instrument. The other meaning is I am doing an asana. Asana is an object. And with instrumentations of your body, mind, breath, will, intent, diligence, you are doing, and you become a subjective entity. So there are two shades of meaning. I am doing an asana, you are a doer. You are a doer, and therefore you say I am doing an asana. That means you are subjective entity and you have a doership. So I am doing an asana means you are the doer. The pronoun I is the doer. The subjective entity is the doer. The other meaning also comes in that if you say I am doing an asana, that means you are engineering an asana. So you become that activity of doing an asana. You yourself become an activity of doing an asana. So in one sense it is that you are actor, and the other sense you are activating. So little grammatical insight should be developed here. The point is both these statements are faulty insofar as essential asana is concerned. There is no condition such as I am doing an asana. Even if you take both the meanings which I just now told you, then that is not true when it is a classical asana. It is improper description, or if it is the description is proper, that means it is not a genuine, authentic asana. It is a preliminary stage. I am in an asana. When you say I am in an asana, that means asana becomes that objective entity and you are in it. Like you are in your house. That means you are inside your house. You cannot be on the street and then say that I am in the house. So you have to come within those four walls of your house with a ceiling and floor, and then you can say I am in the house. So I am in the asana, I am in an asana means that asana has been taken up and you are in it. So this is not also a proper expression, or if the expression is proper, the condition is not proper, such as I am in an asana. Minutely hear to this and try to understand with analysis. So I am doing an asana is also improper. I am in an asana is also improper. then what is the expression? Asana in me is also not proper. Neither I am in asana nor asana is in me is proper description of it. So therefore we will have to formulate a proper statement to a condition if you are in asana and if you are in a genuine, authentic condition of an asana. Because asana is a seat. Now if you say, I am doing an asana, you become a furniture man. You become a carpenter and you say, I am making a chair. Or you are a fabricator and you are making a metal chair. So if asana is a seat, and if you say, I am doing an asana, it amounts to you being a carpenter who is turning out a chair, assembling a chair, constructing a chair, assembling a chair, which is a seat for our body. Or you are a fabricator, that the chair can be a metallic chair, and then you will have to be fabricating with all those processes of cutting and bending, etc. And then you fabricate a chair. So I am doing an asana means that you are either a steel smith or you are a woodsmith, a carpenter. So therefore, that expression that I am doing an asana will not be proper. Therefore, in vernacular, the expression is I am laying an asana. Asanas are not done. Asanas are laid. Like a carpet, we lay a carpet in our room. We do not do a carpet, we don't weave a carpet, but we lay a carpet. And if asana is a seat, then asanas are to be laid. So there is no doing of an asana, but there is laying of an asana. So one must be laying an asana. That too in a formative stage of your yogasana, the preliminary stage of your yogasana. So we have to do away with the expression which is so much in usage that I am doing my asanas. Asanas are to be laid because they are seats, and they are seats to chitta. So like you lay a carpet for you to sit on it or for people to sit on it, you lay a carpet in a room and then ask people to settle on the carpet, settle on the floor, to be seated on it. That is called laying a mat, laying a carpet. So if it is seat, it should be laid. You cannot be preparing a carpet. You don't say, I am doing a carpet. You say, I am laying a carpet. You already have a carpet with you and you lay the carpet for one to sit on it or people to sit on it. So asanas are laid. This is the vernacular expression. Asanas are not done. That's very faulty. So this is another point to be understood, that we are fumbling with our expressions and therefore we are not able to make a headway in understanding what are asanas. Basically, asana is a seat, and seat for not body, as we saw in the last session, the seat not for mind but seat for chitta. And I did explain you how chitta is substance. Like a liquid substance, the liquid substance settles down in any container, any form of container, be that vertical, be that horizontal, be that shapely or be that unshapely. The chemical will never complain that why have you put me into a contorted container, or I cannot be comfortable. The substance doesn't say it, it settles down. Whatever might be the shape of container, it settles down. That's how the chitta settles down. So asanas are different positions of the body, many times contortions of the body, but yet the chitta is capable of settling because it is a substance. So that's how we came to a point that asanas are laid. So we have to come at proper description for what is usually termed as doing asanas or doing an asana. Asanas are to be laid. That will be in line with the ethos of yogasanas. Doing an asana is not in line with the ethos of yogasanas. You have to handle in asanas, which will come to a later point in time. It's not just body, it is body, mind, breath, senses, organs, psyche, consciousness, the you, the yours, and in you aspects. They are all subsumed by chitta. And they all have to be handled. And therefore they must be laid for that position to be yogasana. Because that position that you lay your body to psyche consciousness, it is laid for a kind of nirodha. And therefore it must be laid properly. So asanas are to be laid for the chittavritti to be seated on it, for a yoga dharma. Okay, now let's try to have little more insight into this prologue to asanas. Like we have these expressions, I am eating, I am reading, I am writing, I am doing asana. It comes in same way. Just as you say, I am eating my food, you say, I am doing my asana. I am reading the book, you say, I am doing my asana. I am writing my essay, in the same way it comes, I am doing my asana. So, in the light of this, let's try to have little illumination as to what asanas are in the scheme of Patanjali. So let's take an example of a statement here. I am eating my meals. I am eating my lunch. When you are eating your lunch or eating your food, your eyes can be engaged in watching a television. Your ears might be engaged in hearing something that audio machine is producing, some music or some talk or some speech. So you can be at your dining table by listening to this session, and you can be eating your food, and yet you can be hearing what I am saying or what I am trying to relate. So your eyes might be engaged not in your act necessarily. It might be just there for purpose and function, but the eyes can go everywhere. Eyes can go elsewhere as well. So your mouth is eating, eyes are seeing. Your mouth is eating, your ears are hearing. Your mouth is eating, but the mind is going helter-skelter. Mind is running around. The mind might be in vichara, chinta, mind might be in thought, mind might be in worry, mind might be in anxiety, mind might be in imagination, mind might be in memory. So, understand the composite kind of activity which is taking place, which is all heterogeneous. So when you are eating food, it is not only that you are only eating food, you are doing so many things simultaneously. Seeing, hearing, feeling, sensing, talking, thinking. So they all will be working in their own realms, while what is engaged in your eating is your hand and mouth. And this kind of cocktail is described as I am eating my food. So try to understand what all do we do and what all do you do, or what all one does when it is described as I am eating my food, I am eating my lunch, I am eating my meals. So many diversified activities are taking place, and it's a weave of so many activities. It is a cocktail, a mix-up, a mess-up of so many divergent activities, mutually unrelated activities. You might be eating food, but your thought might be not in what you are eating, but your thought can be elsewhere, which is not at all related to eating food. So mind, as I said, can go in any thought, can go in any worry, anxiety, imagination, memory. It can go in so many different directions, totally having no thread, link, cord with the activity of you eating food, but yet we describe that act as I am eating my meals. And there is that cocktail of thinking, worrying, imagining, hearing, seeing. So many prismatic acts are coming in with no mutual relationship. So yet how do we describe it? See the faulty description of it, with which we are very familiar. We don't object. Anybody making a statement that I am eating food, we don't really critically ask, are you only eating the food or are you not doing anything else, and so many other things as well. But then it is so described that I am eating my meals. Let's take another example, another statement, which is related to a school-going child. So school-going child says, I am doing my homework. I am studying what was taught in the school. Either I am doing homework or I am studying what was taught in the school. Now we very well know that while we are studying, we are carrying out heterogeneous activities, diversified activities, mutually incompatible activities, but all that is described as I am doing my studies. How rarely it happens that if you are studying, you are only studying with no irrelevant things happening. It's a very rare case. Generally, we do so many irrelevant things and then it is put under a bracket that I am studying, I am carrying out my school studies, I am doing my homework. And we call that Abhyas in vernacular. I am doing my Abhyas. That is, Abhyas in the sense study. So there are many such activities of our worldly life, like I am going, I am coming. So it's not only exclusive activity that is taking place, so many things are taking place. Maybe while you say I am going, maybe you are lingering here. But that only act of your legs, that you are walking, putting a step outside the house and you say I am going. You may not go in. You might be thinking. You might be thinking irrelevant things, relevant things. You might be imagining relevant, irrelevant things. So many things happen, but we designate such as I am going, I am coming. When you say I am coming, maybe you have left your mind somewhere else. And your body is entering, your mind has not come in total. Most of the mind is still rambling somewhere, is engaged somewhere, and you say I am coming. So when you say I am coming, what is coming? The body has come. Part of mind has come. Most of the parts of the mind have not come, have gone elsewhere, are engaged elsewhere, are going elsewhere. When you are coming, they are going. So also I am eating, I am drinking, I am working, I am consuming. All these verbs that we use in our statements, try to understand how these statements are partially true and real, and that too in a very meager fragment they are real and true, and the rest of all is irrelevant and is not in the designation, description. So we are divided in all these acts. We are divided in all these acts. I am coming, I am going, I am eating, I am reading, I am studying, I am seeing, I am hearing. So we get ourselves divided. So part of us is doing what is in designation, and most of us is not in that designation actually. This is the reality of life. But if you are really sleeping, you are undividedly in sleep. If you are eating, you are dividedly in eating. If you are reading, you are dividedly in reading. If you are hearing, you are dividedly in hearing. If you are seeing, you are dividedly in seeing. But if you are sleeping, you are undividedly in sleeping condition. So there is no division in you. In a statement such as I was sleeping, or someone is sleeping, that person is sleeping. If the person is fast asleep and not in any pretense, sleep is an act which doesn't have division in you. All other acts have division in you. All other acts of awakeful state will have division of whatever proportions. But the acts which are the act of dormant state, you are indivisibly, undividedly in that act. Or somebody is really sleeping, somebody is fast asleep. The person is sleeping and nothing else. Person is not thinking. Person is not even seeing dream. When the person is fast asleep, there is not even a dream. So there is nothing to hear, nothing to see, nothing to feel, nothing to sense, nothing to think. So understand this statement. Chaitra is seeing. See the division. Divided condition. Chaitra is eating. Chaitra is hearing. Chaitra is coming. Chaitra is going. See the disintegrated condition and divisibility of pronoun I. But Chaitra is fast asleep. Chaitra is sleeping. So the Chaitra is undividedly in sleep. Chaitra cannot be in undividedly in the act of eating or reading or sleeping or going and coming and walking and talking and etc. or thinking. So what is that sleep? In sleep, listen to this carefully, the me, the pronoun I, the me, the mine, my body, my mind, my senses, my intelligence, my psyche, my consciousness, all that is mine, see? He is sleeping. You can't say, I am sleeping, but my mind is not sleeping. Or my mind is sleeping, but I am not sleeping. This doesn't happen. Not even as an exception. So what is this Purnansha and Avibhagataha state of a dormant state, sleeping state, that you are undividedly in that act. You are undividedly in that condition. That only happens in sleep. So in sleep you should know that the me and the mine, they are all sleeping. You can't just say that me is sleeping, that is I am sleeping, but mine is not sleeping. Whatever is integral to you, such as your mind, your intelligence, your emotion, your psyche, your consciousness, your organs, your senses, they all must be in sleep. So the me and mine are in that single act, only in case of dormancy, not in case of other acts of a wakeful state, of thinking, eating, drinking, walking, talking, moving, coming, going, reading, writing, studying. We get fragmented. But in sleep, it is more an integrated state. This is to be understood. So we are undividedly in sleep. We are not dividedly in sleep. We are undividedly in a state of sleep. Now Yogasana is something like that. You just can't say that my body is an asana but the mind is not, or my mind is an asana but the body is not. Your body, your mind, your breath, your senses, your psyche, your consciousness, they must all be in that unified state, like in sleep. They are all in that unified state, otherwise it is not a sleep. So this is how asana has to be understood in the light of the dormant state of consciousness, yet it is not a dormant state of consciousness. So the yogic state is called a twilight state. It is neither a wakeful state, nor dreamy state, nor dormant state. Of course, not the fourth state of consciousness for which we common people are not qualified, but then it's a twilight state. It is definitely not a wakeful state, dreamy state or dormant state. I will just make a final statement here for today's session, that we think that yoga is to restrain the mind or chitta, and that is the chitta of the awakeful state. That's a major flaw. That is not being familiar with the postulation of subject of yoga. Yoga doesn't say that you have to stop your mind of a wakeful state, because it is deemed that a wakeful state cannot be restrained. You will not be restrained in a wakeful state. You are awake. If you are awake, what is really awake? You are awake. And that's why a wakeful state, you should recall, sometimes we had referred to aniruddha vyuha of Paramatma. Aniruddha, it is called unrestrainable. So, awakeful state is an unrestrainable state of the consciousness, and therefore yoga is not doing anything there. So there it should be neither aniruddha, that is the awakeful state. The pradyumna is a dreamy state. Sankarshana is dormant state. And Vasudeva is that fourth state. So we know four states of mind: Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, Turiya. Jagrata, awakeful state. Swapna, dreamy state. Sushupti, dormant state. And Turiya, a transcendent state. So that's called fourth state of consciousness. So the nirodha doesn't come to operate in your awakeful state, because awakeful state is essentially unrestrainable, because you are not restrained. Your pronoun I is, what is the signature condition of your awakeful state? That your pronoun I is absolutely on the toes and is all the time operative, functional and in movement. So, for those who cannot are not qualified for the fourth state of consciousness called Turiya, like you and me, we cannot be getting Turiya Avastha, then what is the way? That's the technology of asanas will take us to, that it is a twilight state. It is neither awakeful, nor dreamy, nor dormant, but something, and not even Turiya or transcendent. Something in between the dormant and transcendent. That's the twilight state. They are not supposed to be falling asleep in asana and say that I did wonderful asana, successful asana. You can't go to dormant state and cannot be in that blank of dormancy. There has to be a twilight state. And in twilight state, restraint is possible. So when yoga says chittavritti nirodha, it doesn't say stop your chittavritti of awakeful state. It doesn't say stop your chittavritti of swapnavastha or stop your chittavritti of sushuptyavastha, because the sleep itself is a vritti, which we discussed in the samadhi pada, when panchava vrittis, panchatayaha vrittayaha were explained, pramana viparya vikalpa nidra smutayaha. Nidra itself is smruti, and nidra included a dreamy state as well. So it is not at all a restraint. If you are fast asleep, it doesn't mean there is a chittavritti nirodha. If you are in dream, it doesn't mean there is a chittavritti nirodha, because it's a vritti by itself. Swapna is a vritti, sushupti is a vritti, as much as jagrati is a vritti. And that's why they are all counted as vrittis. Anyway, so there is no chittavritti nirodha there. But in yoga, asanas should take you to a twilight state, and then you will experience some element of nirodha, if not full-fledged, partial. Anyway, so like I said, you and yours are in sleep. If you are sleeping, you and yours should be in your asana. You just can't be in your asana. Just yours cannot be an asana. You can't say my body is in asana, my breath is in asana, and my mind is in asana. You plus yours, then you plus yours plus in you, they should be in an asana. So asana is a condition where you plus yours, all that is integrally yours, and in you. So many unidentified things in you, which we saw that there are so many avyakta things, anavishkruti things in ourselves. in the beginning of the session today. So, you, in you, and yours, all the three must be in an asana, which doesn't happen in an act such as I am walking, talking, moving, coming, going, eating, drinking, seeing, hearing. We are divided. But in asana, you should be undivided. And that is why it's a unique condition. So, with that, we will be concluding today's part of the prologue. The prologue, however, is going to continue, so that we should create a foundation to really crystallize what yogasana is, and therefore I am frantically trying to work on laying that foundation to understand what yogasana is. So enough for the time being. Namaskar all of you.